Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to the Rebel Roundtable. And as you may notice, it is just me today on the Rebel Roundtable because sometimes we like to talk to ourselves. And I had come up with my David Letterman S top 10 takes on topics and was going to run through those today just because there were a few things that have come up a lot recently. And it would be really fun to just do quick top 10 on some hot takes I'm seeing in the legal industry. So that is our Rebel Roundtable episode for today. And I am looking forward to top 10. And maybe there'll be an honorable mention. I'm curious to hear from you all what you take away from it, which ones you disagree with. Some are spicier than others, but let me know what you think. And if this is one of your expertise topics, reach out to me and we can do a whole episode of one of these hot takes. But my number 10, we'll start with, counting down here, is stop buying software to solve people problems. And what I mean by that is I see all of these firms buying some promising technology, like the technology has promised to do everything and solve every problem you have, but you don't have a process in your firm for it. And so I see technology amplifying chaos or good processes, depending on what you have. It doesn't create them for you. So technology is one of the tools, but it's not actually your system or your process. And so that is my number 10 is to stop buying software to solve people problems that you haven't dealt with yet or that you don't want to deal with. Because who wants to deal with people problems, really? Number 9, most lawyers don't need more clients. There are a lot of clients out there, and I feel like we are almost trying to compete for clients when really there are more clients than there are lawyers to help them with their problem. Most lawyers don't need more clients. They need better systems, probably better pricing, billable hour. I didn't even throw that one in here, but better pricing, better boundaries, because your profitability will go up and you don't want to be magnifying the chaos that you have with more clients if you could get all the other things under control, which actually leads me to number 8. Being busy is not a personality. The hustle culture, the idea that, oh, I worked, 80 hours this week and I haven't taken a vacation day in 10 years is not something to brag about. And it used to be. I'm pretty sure when I first got into the working world, that has been the culture. And it some of it is also like regional. There are some regional parts of the United States where, oh, you work hard and you do whatever, and eventually it'll pay off someday. And being busy is not a personality or a business strategy. If your business strategy is to be busy, then you probably need a whole lot of other help in everything else in your life because being busy is exhausting and not having good systems amplifies that. So, my soapbox for number 8 there. Number 7, networking isn't about referrals. It's not gathering referrals or handing out business cards. It's about being memorable. And people refer to people they remember. If you are giving the same tired spiel to everybody that everyone else is giving, and I always pick on estate planning attorneys, sorry, y'all, but I'm an estate planning attorney. I plan estates. No one knows what the hell that means. They can probably visualize a will and a trust, a power of attorney, maybe, but honestly, they don't know when to tell someone to call an estate planning attorney unless it's imminent where, someone's dying or someone has died and someone didn't do it. People remember unique individuals. Your uniqueness does not have to be what related to your industry at all. If you like helping something crazy, single mom dog owners, and that's your estate planning practice, if you put that out there, you will have more clients than someone who says, oh, I just help anyone, because you'll be remembered. People are like, oh yeah, that's that crazy lady who helps, single mom dog owners or something like that. So networking isn't about referrals. It's about how you've made yourself remembered in a good way You don't want to be remembered for being a horrible person. And I'm getting off on, I love talking about this because I just see so many bad examples of networking these days. Okay, number 6, perfection is procrastination wearing a suit. I am guilty of this. Many lawyers I know are guilty of this. And what happens is if it's not perfect, we don't want to put it out into the universe. And we put things off and we put it off and we put it off thinking, oh, people aren't going to buy this, or I can't do that because it doesn't look exactly perfect and I have to be perfect. And that is the way to, first of all, burn out, stress yourself out, and also not move forward in your practice, your ideas, and that kind of thing. So if you think something has to be perfect, that procrastination is what's driving that. Number 5, free consultations are expensive. And everyone knows I rail against the free consult, not just for lawyers, for a lot of people. And there are times when you may need to have a 15-minute discussion with someone just to see if you're a good personality fit. But free consultations are expensive. You are giving time away, which is money, even if you're not doing by the hour. You're giving expertise away without getting paid. And what you're teaching people by giving free specific advice to their situation is that your expertise actually has no value. Why would they want to then turn around and pay you for something that they've already determined has no value? And they're not doing it consciously. They're not saying, oh, well, I can not pay this bill. It's a subconscious psychological thing. And I do love psychology, and I do love talking about that with lawyers, and in bankruptcy especially. It's a very fascinating area. But free consults aren't a marketing tool. Free consults are expensive and are less profitable, less productive than having a model that gets people into your system and trains them on what you actually do. Okay, number 4, we're halfway there. AI isn't replacing lawyers or even support staff if it's done right. AI isn't replacing lawyers because all it's doing is exposing those parts of our processes that actually don't need someone manually doing it. And what I see is the firms that are using AI the right way aren't removing staff. They are getting the systems in place, and now the staff can focus on all the 1,000 other things that they wish they could have been working on that drives profitability, like communicating with clients, making sure that everything is done correctly in a case, overview, planning for trial, things like that. We have these to-do lists that are never ending. And if you actually focused on the things that, you always say that, oh, if I had all the time in the world, I would do blah, 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 blah. And usually the blah, 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 blah is really important stuff. That's what AI allows us to do, is take all the boring stuff. And if you like drafting, I'm sorry, but it takes the boring stuff and the automations and the confirmations and the client follow-up that doesn't need a person involved and puts that into a process, and then gives us time to do all those other things, communicating with clients specifically on their case and making the clients feel like you actually are working on their case, because that's the number one complaint, is that lawyers don't communicate with clients. So AI isn't replacing lawyers if you're doing it right. It is creating a lot of interesting opportunities out there for people who are either using AI wrong or clients who use AI to do something and then we have to fix it. So I think it's creating more work for lawyers if you're looking for opportunities. So number 3, apologies to my law school colleagues. Law school teaches you how to think like a lawyer. That's the quintessential definition of law school. It's going to teach you how to think like a lawyer. What I hear from a lot of the lawyers, and I know personally from, going on my own after graduating from law school directly, it doesn't really teach you how to build a business or run a firm or the practical side of practicing law, which is okay. There's room for that, for teaching a specific practice area and things like that. But I think a lot of people, not maybe in the legal industry, think that, oh, you went to law school. First of all, you know everything about the law, when really we know very little about a lot of things in order to get through the basics. But it doesn't teach you how to, read a tax return, or it doesn't teach you the actual practical skills of talking to clients. Some law schools are getting better about that. But if you look at it as two separate things, the practical part of it is very interesting and fun, but you have to know the law side of it first before you can get into the practical. So law school teaches you how to think, but it doesn't necessarily teach you the practical skills for having your own firm. And it's okay as long as there are tools out there for that. Number two, so clients are overwhelmed by information. Your clients don't necessarily need more information. That's my number two. But what they do need is the right information. And that's where some of this overload is coming with the internet and what they can look up and things like that. They need more confidence. And this gets a lot into psychology. Most firms are focused on like the facts of their situation and how they can help them. If you have a really good client process, lead process, onboarding process, the best firms reduce anxiety. And a lot of times that is through straightforward information about how processes work, how your firm works. And so your clients don't need more information. They need the right information to make good choices. People make bad choices every day because they are receiving bad information from somewhere and they can't distinguish anymore good from bad. Just there's so much out there. And so your clients don't need more information. They need the right information. And the best firms are reducing anxiety by funneling, and I hate to say that word, the marketing people will yell at me, but funneling people through that anxiety process by giving them the right information. And finally, the biggest thing, number one, holding most lawyers back. All some of you kind of think like me. There's lots of things that hold me back too. So I'm not perfect. Every time I start talking about something, I'm like, oh, I could do that better too. The biggest thing holding most lawyers back is waiting until you're ready. And it does go back a little bit to the procrastination where you want everything to be perfect. But I've had lawyers wait years to switch a practice area, years to open their own firm, years to hire, raise prices, make videos. And they wait and wait and wait because it'll be ready. Things will slow down and I'll be ready to do this. It's never going to happen. Things are never going to slow down enough so that you would go do something else. You just have to jump and do things. And if you wait till you're ready, you will look back and regret all the years you spent thinking you weren't ready because you really were. And some of this comes down to just, it's hard to change. It's hard to like admit that you maybe want to do something else. But as most of you know, my goal is to have happy lawyers, which I know sounds really, really Pollyanna, but too many lawyers I've met over the years, if their kids say they wanted to go to law school, the first thing they would say is, no, don't do that. Being a lawyer sucks. And my response to that is, if being a lawyer sucks, then why are you a lawyer? And they're like, well, I couldn't, I got into this practice area and now I'm stuck here. You're not. You can change your practice in 5 minutes if you want. You just have to put the work in. Or if you don't want to own a law firm or be a lawyer who has clients, there's lots of things out there that are legal adjacent. Make up a practice area, make up something that no one else is doing. And so if you're waiting to do something because either it's not the right time, and there are considerations, I get finances, I get family, I get those things. But if you're always saying, well, it's not the right time, when is the right time and what are you going to do with it? So that's my number one thing, right, that holds lawyers back is you have in your head that either no one else is doing this, I can't do this. And that is one of the most fun things I get to do is tell people stop thinking like that because you can do it. Let's figure out a way. And momentum will beat certainty almost every time. If you get momentum, you get a couple supporters on board, that will go much further than you sitting in your office thinking, man, I wish I could do this, or I wish I would have done this years ago. Um, okay, I did 10. I have one more because I was listening to a book as I drove a few weeks ago, and there was an interesting line in there that I ended up telling Chat GPT about because I didn't want to lose it while I was listening to the book while I was driving because I wasn't on my phone talking to it. And the line was in there was about your business's personality. And I'm going to try to remember it. I'll try to put it into the show notes after the live stream. But the idea was your business has a personality, whether you choose one or not. So you either get to choose the reputation of your business and the personality your business has, or your clients will choose it for you. And if you don't decide what your personality is and your clients make up something that doesn't fit you, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I thought that was a really cool approach to it because I feel like a lot of lawyers feel they have to fit a certain mold. And the fun lawyers out there these days doing really cool things are the ones who don't fit that mold. And so your business has a personality, your law firm has a personality, whether you choose it or not. And if you choose it, you're going to have a lot more fun with it than letting your clients determine what your business personality is. So those are my top 10 with an honorable mention in 11. Hot takes right now as my own guest on the Rebel Roundtable. I do have on my Spotify playlist, Rebel Rebel is #1 song on the Rebel anthems. So feel free to go check out the Rebel Roundtable Spotify playlist that's out there. And I will see you all next week on the Rebel Roundtable. And thanks for letting me have fun with myself today. And at least I didn't interview Chat GPT as part of my Rebel Roundtable. So you all can be thankful that I didn't get too cheesy. But thanks for listening to my top 10 hot takes. And I will see you all next